Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Guys, everyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 32 years ago I was a dumbass, but today, 32 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. Yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times. It means donkey, and that's what I was. Guys, I'm saying all that to say this. We've all had the roughest few years of our lives, right? All over the world, not just here. And I want everyone out there to know someone is listening. I'm a recovery coach. I'm a nutritional health coach. All of my services to you are free. If you think my book can help someone, you can go to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. And if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please, please reach out to me about that as well. Go to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel and subscribe, guys. We got a lot of cool things going on. I want to mention a couple of my sponsors before we get started here. Actually, one of my sponsors is this guy sitting right here, okay? Bryan Boccanfuso, Bucky, retired Robbinsville police officer running for Mercer County Sheriff. And last, Anthony Hudson, presidential candidate 2024. His slogan, People Before Politics. So, guys, if you want to talk to me a little bit more about both of these guys, actually, you can get in touch with me, but one of them is sitting right here. So, without further ado, I want to introduce to you guys, and I'm sure everyone in Mercer County knows this guy, Bucky. Bryan Boccanfuso, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone out there. Hi, Geri. And thank
Hey.
you.
Hey, Bucky, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm here. How much better can I be?
Okay, so, listen, I am so honored again. I mean, this is going to be
No,
probably...
No. I'm the one that has to be honored because you've had me here 3 times since I announced I was running for sheriff. This is my 3rd time for you. Plus, I was here with John last week.
That's right.
So that's 4 times I've been in your studio.
That's
so thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. But, all right, so I've known you most of my life, so
Yeah.
I'm the one who's honored. Leave it at that. I love you, okay? You were an incredible
Love you
police
back.
officer. I mean, we need you in office for sheriff. So
Thank you.
I'm going to give you the mic. I want you to talk about what's happening, but do me a favor.
Sure.
In the very beginning, and we'll announce it again, announce when early election is for everyone.
Okay.
Let them know that.
Okay, yes. Thank you again, Geri, for having me here. Thank you for the listeners. As we were talking before we got started here today, I was advising and updating Geri to let her know and inform her we have early voting going on here in New Jersey. Obviously, we have mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots, I trust using the boxes that are at the county locations throughout Mercer County. If you have a mail-in ballot, make sure you follow the instructions. You have to seal the envelope inside the envelope that gets put in the box. Make sure you follow the instructions properly. Go to the county location boxes that are under surveillance that are being picked up by the Board of Election, brought back to be counted if you're doing the mail-in ballots. If you're not doing that, we have early voting in person. We're doing away with the Sharpies. There's no more Sharpies when you go for the early voting. It's a tablet. It's a screen. You go in starting this Saturday. I believe there's 13 locations throughout Mercer County starting this Saturday. Closest here in Hamilton is at Colonial Firehouse on Cruiser Road, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's from Saturday, October 28th till Saturday, November 4th. Again, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then on Sunday the 5th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You go in person. They'll ask who you are. They have the books. They'll open up the book. They'll ask for your signature. You sign the book or the screen as they have it now. You'll go in. It's electronic. You'll pick your candidates, go down column B for 2023. That's the column I'm in. Column B, 2023. Me, my party, that's where we are. That's who you need to vote for. After you're done, it'll print out a piece of paper. That sheet goes over to the other machine that they have there. They'll scan it through. You wait for the process to accept it, and your vote counts. Do not, I say this again, do not wait till Election Day. We know we love to vote on Election Day. The machines failed us last fall. We can't have that happen again. Take advantage of early voting. Go out for lunch, go out for dinner, go out with your friends, have a good time. Stop in and do your voting. You don't have to be from Hamilton to vote in Hamilton. You don't have to be from, you can be from Robbinsville, you can be from Trenton, you can be from Ewing, Lawrence, Princeton, Hopewell, Hikestown, East Windsor, West Windsor. You can be from any other community and go to any of the locations throughout Mercer County to do your early ballot voting. Do not wait for November 7th, Election Day. Yes, if you want to or if you have to, that's fine, but don't let the machines fail us like it had in the fall here in Hamilton and in Robbinsville, where it was a provisional ballot. And again, we got away from these black Sharpies, which made no sense to me, that you're marking off on your ballot as to who you're voting for, and it comes through the paper so you can see it as to who you're voting, what line you voted on. It made no sense. We got rid of that. We have to trust the system. The system is the only thing we have right now to go by for voting. So again, get out and vote. Get out and vote early. Make your vote count. Your voice is your voice. I've heard it from everybody. Hey, you have my support. I'm voting for you. I'm voting for you. If you don't vote for me, we can't hear about it on November 8th that, this happened or that happened, and whatever your excuse may be. We need to vote from the bottom to the bottom. From the bottom to the top, sorry. Say that again. From the bottom to the top, because that's where it all starts. It starts at the bottom, including our school boards and on up to our county positions, mayoral positions, Senate, Assembly. We're all in column B 2023. I can't stress that enough. Of course, I happen to be Bryan, Bucky, Boccanfuso. Triple B.
There you go.
B, line B, 2023.
There you go.
How much better can that be?
Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. But wait, real quick. How can they find out where in their township is closest to them?
So if you go on the website, either on the New Jersey Board of Elections, if you look at Mercer County Board of Elections, you can Google it. I just did it here looking to confirm our times to make sure I was given the right information for the times, because I know it's 10 a.m. every day but Sunday. They close it at 8 o'clock on Sunday the 5th. It's 6 p.m. So you have from 10 to 8.
Yep.
You have plenty of time to go out and vote. Go out for lunch. After you're done having breakfast in the morning, you can stop over. So you have no reason not to get there any of those days. It gives you a full window of time to get there. I guess it comes down to 8 days. 8 days of voting early. Go out and do it. Take advantage of it. Get it off your slate so you don't forget. God forbid you have an emergency with your family, yourself, car breaks down, somebody gets sick, somebody has an emergency, you can't go on Election Day, then we can't get your vote. Your vote counts. Make it count any of those days ahead. Don't wait till Election Day and go, oh, I got to go today, and I have something else I have to do and I can't get there. We can't have that happen. If we want to make the change, now's to make that change. Get out, take advantage of early voting, and vote in person early.
Okay, very good. Guys, did you hear that? Because I don't want to hear it either. I don't hear nothing from anybody if you don't vote. Get your vote in early, please. All right, this guy right here, Bucky, we need him in office. So, Buck, talk about, the mic is yours. I want you to just talk about whatever is very important and vital for everybody to hear from you right now.
Well, that was the first thing that's
Yes.
vital, getting out and voting. Like I said, I've been out walking, knocking on doors, in businesses, different events. Yesterday, Hamilton's Oktoberfest was very well received by everybody coming by, handing out stickers, handing out literature, handing out water bottle, talking to the residents, hearing what the citizens of Mercer County are concerned with, getting them informed and aware of what's going on. We have the unfortunate increase of crime throughout our county. It's not just within a city. It's not just within a certain town. It's countywide. We have 12 municipalities in Mercer County, and we have a crime issue going on everywhere. We need to get our sheriff's officers out of the courts and on the streets. We have enough of them to be able to man the courts with either Zoom trials going on or lack thereof trials going on at the time, that they don't need to have all the officers being assigned in the courts. They can be on the streets, patrolling, being visible. Visibility is a deterrent to me. I just talked on Friday at two classes at Hamilton West. A lot of the students in there asked very good questions, talking about body cameras, talking about human trafficking, talking about the drugs, the guns. Unfortunately, last month, we had some kids walking home from school here in Hamilton. They were confronted by a group. 2 of them were stabbed here in Hamilton Township. Kids walking home from school. We can't have that. We can't have lawlessness going on countywide. Catalytic converters being stolen off of vehicles countywide. That's happening. The place I work for currently, we just had one of our vehicles 2 weeks ago. Somebody pulled up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 minutes in and out, cut a catalytic converter off of a large landscape vehicle. We can't have this going on. Homicides are up. We have 20 plus homicides. I keep talking about it. We have 5 that have happened outside of the city of Trenton. It's not just in the city. We've had 2 kids under the age of 5 injured by gunshot of guns that were loose in a home that were unattended, not safely secured. One of those guns was a stolen gun out of the city of Philadelphia that was here in Trenton in a household that shouldn't be happening. We have crime, as I said, on an increase. What we don't have is public safety, number one, in my heart and my core of where I stand and what I'm out here working for, trying to inform the public, letting them know what our sheriff's officers can do. We have county-wide jurisdiction of law enforcement that we can do, just being visible on the streets, driving around. We don't have to be out there taken away from the local community law enforcement, but helping them and supplementing those. East Windsor PD, prime example, they're down to 40 officers. They're normally staffed at 56. That's a problem for me. City of Trenton had a problem earlier this summer, throughout summer. Now we're in the fall with an uptick in crime. And they shut down a lot of events they were having, community events, because of what was going on. Again, our sheriff's officers weren't involved, weren't out being visible, weren't supplementing the Trenton PD as they should have been. Go back to a few years back, 6, 7, 8 years ago, Trenton PD had a big uptick in with homicides and crime. They brought in the state police. The state police brought a street initiative unit out. The residents were coming out and applauding them, shaking their hands, happy that the officers were out there to be more visible, to cut down in crime, get the drug dealers off the streets, get the drugs off the streets, get the guns off the streets, make arrests, get all that negativity out of our communities to have us feel that we can come here, live here, feel that we're safe in our neighborhoods, safe in our towns. That's what the sheriff's officers can do by being more visible, being on the streets, being proactive, be progressive with the times. That's what I want to bring, and that's what I plan to do with our sheriff's office and making it what it should be, a county law enforcement agency, working for the public, working for the visitors that come and visit our community, feeling safe, knowing that they can go out on the streets and have that sense of security, knowing that there's more officers out on the streets, more visibility, a deterrent of crime.
So, everybody out there that's listening to you, okay, first of all, I know this guy for a very long time. He's like family to me. Okay, I've known him forever. And he was an incredible Robbinsville police officer. You were also a police officer in Princeton?
That's where I started in
That's
Princeton,
where you started in Princeton. And so anyone who knows him personally knows that he's not just talking. Everything that this man says, he's going to do. So people that are listening that don't really know you,
Yes.
you know, a lot of them will say, well, everybody says that. You know how it goes, right?
I get it.
So
You're not going to say something bad about me if you're going to have me here. I get it.
not me, honey, not me. So, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to address the people that maybe don't know who you are.
Sure.
Tell them something specific that you think they would want to hear that would make something like go bang.
Okay. I will start off with, as you brought up, I started my career in Princeton.
Yep.
So I've always been involved in law enforcement. I worked there for a year and a half. Then I was in what used to be Washington Township, now Robbinsville, for 25 years. Prior to that, I was a volunteer firefighter and first aider. I've been involved with a lot of community activities. I was a youth football coach and lacrosse coach. I was involved with Special Olympics and Sunshine Foundation. So being a public servant, giving back to the community, working for the community, which includes our business people, our residents, and again, our visitors to Mercer County. That's what's essential to me. Being involved, lifelong public servant, volunteer to the community, giving back to the community to try to help and make our community a better place to live, place to prosper, kids to be able to go to school and feel that they're safe going to school, coming home from school. Everybody, you should be able to feel that you can leave your home and come back to the same home you left without feeling that somebody victimized you, broke into your home. We can't be everywhere. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a realist, and I understand that. But we also can be out there at least to try to help and deter and get our crime rate down from the 22% increase that we have currently. And that's what it's about. My core vision and my core of me as a person is about people first and taking care of the citizens. And that's what it's about. The same it was when I was in Robbinsville. When I was a field training officer and I brought on and was teaching the new officers and riding along with me, I would explain that to them. The people that you see at the local food store, the bagel shop, the gas station, the deli, wherever it may be, you run into the people of the town, you're going to see them next week. You're going to see them a month from now. They're the same people you're going to see. When you see them on a Saturday, Sunday in their yard and you're driving by, slow down, wave, stop, maybe engage with the people and get to know who they are. Let them know who you are. Get out of the patrol car. Get out of that moving billboard, as I would refer to it at times, and let people know that you're more than just somebody driving around in a police car, that in their worst hour or the worst minutes, they're calling you in need of having a police service come to you to help them out in their worst hour, whether it's a medical call, a fire, a domestic. Law enforcement is your first line of defense here, community-wise, and that's who you should be able to know and understand and get to a feel of I guess clicking together and feeling safe and knowing that your officers and who they are, knowing them by their first name. As you refer to me as Bucky, all my friends know me as Bucky. All my colleagues in law enforcement, state, local, federal that I worked with know me as Bucky. That's who I am. That's who I've been. I haven't changed. Outside of a uniform, I'm the same person. I have those same core values. You can pick up the phone and call me in the need of something, and I'll help you out. And if I can't help you out, I'll get you the right resource to help you out. That's who I am. That's how I used to be. When I worked in the Detective Bureau and I worked with people that Jerry, they would call me Magic because you asked Bucky and Bucky had a contact. I had somebody you could reach out to, whatever it may be. And if I didn't have that answer, I'd get the answer for you. I'd like to be a resourceful person that can help people community-wide and especially here in our county for our citizens, working for them.
So, what I like about all this is you're not just a man in politics.
Well, this isn't politics for me.
That's right.
I'm a constitutional law enforcement officer. This
That's
isn't
right.
politics for me. I'm not a politician.
That's right.
And let me make that clear. I am not a politician. What you see is what you get. What you hear is what you're going to get. I'm not on making broken promises. I'm working for the citizens of Mercer County as a law enforcement officer for a law enforcement position that unfortunately that's driven through politics and voting and sometimes through a party or a political party. And I don't even like to get involved in that so much because it really shouldn't be about that. It should be about the person and what they're trying to bring to the table to make our communities better, safer, and public safety is number one to me. And that's what this is about. Not about politics. It's public safety.
That's perfectly said, because I want everybody to understand that. Me personally, right, I would rather know that my sheriff was a retired police officer in this county than just a man of politics, because the man of politics to me means nothing, okay? They just know what they're supposed to say and what they're supposed to do, and, this guy's done it. See, that's the difference. He's done it. He's risked his life for years and years and years on the streets. He did whatever he had to do. Okay? So I want to ask you something, Bucky. You get in, you're sheriff.
Yes.
Okay? What's the first thing you're going to do? Because I'm sure you've thought about this.
I have. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to meet with the men and women in the sheriff's office. I want to see where they are currently in their positions and what they're doing. I want their vision of where they would like to see themselves in 5 years from now. And I also want to see what they can bring to the table to make our sheriff's office more progressive a more positive influence in the community countywide to the residents here in Mercer County. I want to see what people's ideals are. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the ideas. Someone can come to me from within that agency and say, listen, Sheriff, I have an idea. This is what I want to do program-wise. Or can we apply for grant money? There's so much grant money that we can apply for that we're not, that can save our tax-paying residents here, because the taxpayers are paying the sheriff's officers' salaries. And I know officers that have worked in the sheriff's office that are telling me they're not applying for the grants they used to apply for. I don't have the answers for what's not happening. I can give you the answers of what I want to do and what changes I'd like to bring to the table and those changes. I was involved as a PBA president, PBA vice president, and our state delegate for Robbinsville Township PBA 344. I was proud to serve the men and women and fighting for them contractually for what was right for the men and women, and that's the same thing I would bring to the table for the men and women of the sheriff's office.
So, okay, I'm going to tell everybody out there what really impressed me one day. We did a meet and greet in Robbinsville with you and Anthony Hudson. And when we were done and we were walking out, that table of young people,
Yes.
those college students,
Yes.
okay, when they heard who you guys were, they were smiling from ear to ear. They wanted photos.
Right.
They're young, so they want to do something right for this county, this
Correct.
country. They
Correct.
want to bring good in.
Absolutely.
And that really was impressive to me, because a lot of people think young people couldn't care less. No, they absolutely do care.
They do.
And so have you talked to any young people? Have you gone to schools? Tell me about that.
I have. I've been to the 3 high schools here in Hamilton. I was
Okay.
invited to. I spoke at Steinert High School, Nottingham High School, and most recently, just this past Saturday, I spoke to 2 classes. It's their government and law classes that I spoke before. They are very engaged. Their questions were very thought out as to wanting to know about body cameras, wanting to know about the human trafficking, the drugs, the guns, different items of my position that they don't really understand or know too much about. So educating the young and letting them know what our sheriff's officers do. A lot of them, because our sheriff's officers are different than what they think of as a police officer because of the title, they have all the same powers. They do the same training with the Police Training Commission as I did in the police academy. So I had sheriff's officers in my academy class when I was in the police academy here in Trenton. And our sheriff's officers are fully trained. They have all the same rights and powers of law enforcement to uphold the Constitution for victims and defendants alike. That's important for people to understand. The Constitution is there to protect you, and law enforcement shouldn't go above and beyond the Constitution in violating anybody's rights, whether you are a victim or you're a defendant. We're here to protect those rights that are given to you. Our sheriff's office is different than sheriff's office that may be out in the Midwest or out on the West Coast or even down south, where that's your primary law enforcement agency. Here, your primary law enforcement agency is the law enforcement agency in the community you live in. So a lot of the students didn't understand what our sheriff's officers do in conjunction to your local law enforcement. And I just try to explain to them that we're here to supplement them. We shouldn't just be in the courts, or we shouldn't just be at the county airport or at any of the county facilities and county buildings throughout Mercer County, that we have the rights and the powers to be outside of those facilities and working on the streets as they used to, work with the city of Trenton PD, work with Hamilton, work with Robbinsville, work with East Windsor, West Windsor, Hikestown, Pennington, Hopewell, Lawrence, Ewing. We can work with all of those agencies and supplement them and provide support, whether it's with the canines or other entities of law enforcement, to help them in a time of need or on a regular daily basis, whatever may be going on. If we have a disaster, forbid we do, but if we have a disaster going on, 3 years ago, we unfortunately had the situation of some bad apples, and that's what I'll call them, bad apple cops that went out there and went above and beyond their job, and it affected nationwide as to what was going on. And there was the defunding, there was looting, lawlessness. We had it happen here in Trenton. 6 police cars were firebombed. Sheriff's offices were not present during that. The courts were shut down because of COVID. They weren't working at the time. They weren't even called in to help. Trenton PD was getting attacked with that situation going on and police cars being firebombed, and it was only Trenton PD, it was Hamilton that went out and supplemented them, and state police. where sheriff's officers should have been able to and should have been there assisting them. Called back into duty and saying, listen, we need your assistance. We need you here. That's what I want to be. I want to be a resource that people can pick up the phone, call me or another sheriff and say, listen, we have a situation. We need service. We need manpower. What can you do? What can you get here for us and assist us within our county? And that's what the sheriff's officer should do. Assist everybody, 12 municipalities here in Mercer County. That's what we should be doing.
So, okay, I'm going to have a couple questions for you. So, as a recovery coach, do you have anything, are you brainstorming like any new ideas to help with the drug problem here in the county?
One is visibility,
Okay.
is a deterrent. Getting the sheriff's officers on the streets, bringing them out where they should be to the neighborhoods, target areas that are a bigger concern for the residents, the citizens here in Mercer County. That's one.
Okay.
Two is not just locking up people that are involved in drugs and putting them in incarcerating. Our jails are at 50%. You may not know that. Our county jail is at 50%. It's not at max. So it's not that there isn't room, but locking somebody up, bringing them before a judge, putting them into a county jail, that's not taking care of the treatment for that person who has a drug problem. It's a disease. 15, 20 years ago, everybody wanted to ignore it. We didn't want to acknowledge it. It was hard for families to deal with. Families are coming together now. Our communities are coming together now and working with those that have that disease, getting them in the right place. In Robbinsville, we work collectively with our prosecutor's office because the charges are going through the prosecutor's office. So they're being inundated with the charges that are then going before the judges. And instead of doing that, yeah, we can put them up on charges, but let's get them in recovery. Let's get them the help. Granted, it does take that person who has a disease willing to take that help. It's an olive branch. Put it out to them. Get them in recovery. The charges can remain there until they come out of recovery and show that they're back on the right track, because that person with that disease, it's not just affecting them, it's affecting their siblings, their parents, grandparents, their family. It's affecting our society because they can't go to work. They have a drug problem. It's a disease. And to get them clean, that's essential. So doing that can also work as something I want to get our sheriff's officers involved with, that if we're going to clean up the streets and we're going to get the drugs and the drug dealers and unfortunately the people that have that disease off the streets, that's a way we can do that. That's essential. Working with the issues of our guns. Lots of guns on the streets. And I know people don't want to admit it or acknowledge it, but they're there. And that's killing our youth, just as the drugs are. So they coincide together as two things of doing and getting the drugs off the streets, getting the guns off the streets. That's going to help hopefully get our society, our young, and that are vulnerable to those situations and get them away from it. Again, when I talk about catalytic converters, if we don't have enough cops on the streets and being out there as a deterrent, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. The scrap yards don't care that you come in with a catalytic converter and you want cash for your drugs or whatever it is that you're doing this for. Majority of it is a drug problem. Those that have the drug problem find an easy way to get cash is stealing from somebody else, as it was with our youth. They were stealing jewelry. Back when I was in law enforcement as a detective, a lot of the youth that were involved with drugs were stealing from their grandparents, their parents, their siblings, taking jewelry, going to a pawn shop, cashing it in for gold, as it was advertised, cash for gold, getting the cash, going to the city, getting the drugs, and continuing their problem. But now it was affecting everybody within their household or parents or somebody else's house that they would steal from. And that's a problem. So getting them clean, getting them away from all that makes it a better environment for everybody, family-wise, household-wise, community-wise, and that's what it's about. We want people to come and visit Mercer County as they come to our Mercer County Park, or to go down the waterfront park to the baseball stadium, Cure Arena, fly in and out of Trenton Mercer Airport. We want everyone to come here and feel that it's a better community, a safer area to come visit, come explore, come and enjoy the culture events that go on. And when I was talking to John last week, we talked about the art night, art all night event that they had, unfortunately, years ago. And we had a shooting happen there.
Right.
And it got shut down for a while because of that.
Yep.
It got brought back little by little, and then COVID didn't help either. And we want people to be able to, young, that's where the young are, going out to cultural events, going to a movie, feeling that you're safe going to a movie, wherever it may be. And we've had police presence. When the AMC theaters used to be open, Hamilton Police would have an officer there on a Friday or Saturday night. Quaker Bridge Mall, Lawrence Township has police there. It's not as it used to be, but they have them there because of problems, to hope that there isn't a problem. Walking into the high schools here in Hamilton now, we have metal detectors. I think it's great. I'm sorry that, you may not like that there's metal detectors and you have to have that sense of what's going on in our society. But for me to send a child to school, knowing that they're walking into a school, knowing that there's metal detectors, knowing that there's better security, more security in our schools, is a sense of knowing that your child is going to school and is going to come home from school safe without having to worry you're going to get a phone call, something happened. We know previously, out in the Midwest again, unfortunately, there was a target. The soft target was hit with someone with a gun going into a school because they knew there wasn't armed security. There wasn't security at that school. Did research at another school that was the first target. They didn't go because there was police, there was security, there was a presence there. So they were going to have a confrontation with law enforcement there. They went to a soft target, a Christian school, unfortunately. And that's what we need to have.
I have to ask you a question. You said some people don't like that there's...
I can tell you, Jerry.
I don't get it.
I don't understand it either. I don't understand it either.
People have complained?
I was talking before a group of people not too long ago, and there was an individual or individuals that don't like the idea of having metal detectors or having a resource officer, police in a school. And I gave the example, as I just said now, about a soft target and a hard target. And I'd rather have someone second guess and think about what they're going to go and do because they know law enforcement are there. They're going to be, there's going to be a confrontation, and that's what they're going to be confronted with. And again, for a parent to feel safe. My kids are 20 and 18. Thankfully, they're out of school. But my daughter does online studies at the moment for college. But if she were to go back into a school and have to worry and think twice about that happening, that's an uncomfortable, feeling that people shouldn't have. Whether it's a Catholic school, a Christian school, anything. To know that you have that protection there, as opposed to making a phone call and having to wait for the cavalry, for law enforcement to respond, to show up into a situation and have to unfortunately deal with victims when you can prevent that from happening. To me, be progressive, have something happen, be preventive.
I can't even imagine someone
would
I would be happy if every
I know,
school,
I know,
right?
but not everyone thinks that way. And I respect, listen, I'll respect someone's views and opinions about it. We can agree to disagree, as they say. But I'm going to stand on where I'm going to stand, knowing what I did for 26 and a half years, and being that person that wanted to be there, to be that first line of defense against a bad person that has intentions of harming people innocently because they have a problem. They have whatever's going on in their life that they want to take out that anger on somebody else.
That's right.
I'd rather be that.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your stand on bullying and child trafficking.
So bullying is still an issue, obviously, and it's not just as it used to be growing up. Bullying was face-to-face. You had a problem in school. Now it's behind a keyboard. There's bullies behind a keyboard that are, unfortunately causing issues for kids with our mental health issues, more so now because we had COVID and shutdowns of schools and people doing Zoom. Now there's more of a mental health issue in our society that people don't want to address. They don't want to acknowledge it. And I feel it kind of goes back to the drugs and the disease of a drug. People didn't want to acknowledge it 15, 20 years ago. And we have to get a grasp on mental health and the bullying and what's going on, cyberbullying especially. And we have different units, different crime units that are involved, cyber crimes that are out there monitoring, thankfully are getting involved. But it only happens if somebody says something. If you see something, say something. We've all heard this since 9/11 and thereafter. You have to speak up, especially if it's a friend, someone that you may not even get along with, but you see something going on wrong, you need to tell somebody. Whether it's a teacher, a guidance counselor, a parent, somebody you feel comfortable talking to. Law enforcement, we're in schools, we're there to help. We're not the bad guys. We're there to be the good guys. And that's where like DARE and other programs that used to be in schools all the time and would talk about all that. That's what that was there for the kids, the students to understand that we're the good guy. There are bad apples, and I can tell you to my core, I can't stand the bad apple. I will not stand up and protect a bad apple. If you did something wrong, you're not supposed to. This is what this position that everyone looks at is someone to look up. We're supposed to be above and beyond what's going on and stand up for the Constitution and stand up for what I put my hand on a Bible for, to protect the people and working for the people and not taking advantage of and doing something wrong. Unfortunately, it happens and they're out there, but it's a small percentage amongst all the good men and women in blue that are out there working day in and day out to provide the services that they do, public safety to the residents, the citizens, in doing that. When it comes down to human trafficking, we have that issue, and we have that issue more so now in the past 2-3 years, and a lot of us know why. An open border is a problem. Besides the human trafficking, we have the gang issues, and the gangs is where the human trafficking starts. And that's going on in Trenton. That's going on in other communities, and that's where a lot of that starts, and that's going on. Again, being visible, being out on the streets, talking to the citizens, getting them to confide in you, to talk to you. They're not going to come to us. They're not going to talk to us behind doors in buildings. They're not going to show up and do that. If you're on the street and you start making contact with the public, you instill their trust in you to know that you're the good guy that they can come to and talk to. Come with a problem, whatever the problem is. I have someone who's a business person in another county who's reaching out to me weekly about a drug problem going on. Not to get off the topic of the human trafficking, but a drug problem going on in her community is a problem, and knows that I have the resources through my contacts from working with state, federal, and local law enforcement, and I'm working collectively with law enforcement to try to get rid of this drug problem that's going on, that this person has a problem with. She's a business owner. It's not her business that it's happening, but it is happening to another business in her community, and she has a problem with it. And I feel privileged and honored that she has that trust to call me and contact me, to feel that, I may not have that answer, but I can put the right resources involved, and I'm working with those right resources to get involved to get rid of this problem, because it's hurting another business.
Right.
And that's her concern, besides who it's hurting society-wise with the drugs. Absolutely.
So, all right, you brought up the borders and all that. I want to share something with everybody. He knows about this. So probably, 6 months ago, whatever it's been now, my producer here, Ruben, and I, we went to Yuma, Arizona, to the borders to meet Anthony Hudson, who's running for president, who's also been here live in studio, and who's also been here with Bucky. What we saw was unbelievable. So we're all being lied to about what's really going on at the borders. So I've also protested in Trenton many times for our constitutional rights, and with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'm saying that with a little bit of a tone right now to say this: get off your butts. Okay, I have a right to complain, and I have a right to say this, and I have a right, because I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing for this community and this country. So I'm asking everybody out there who just sits back to complain about they don't like what's going on, get off your butts and do something about it. If any of you don't know Bucky and you have some questions, reach out to me. I'll hook you up with him. Okay, no problem. If you're on the fence, I'm telling you, with everything that I've done, this guy needs to be in office. Buck, all right, let me ask you this. The drugs. You seem to have a hold on all that. That's amazing. Even the human trafficking, right? The bullying. But let me ask you this about bullying. The bullies are being bullied at home and probably abused. Nobody just becomes a bully, trust me.
No.
So do you guys have anything, like, in your mind about what you want to do to help the bullies also?
There's resources.
Okay.
And the problem is, again, it's having the right people to get those resources involved. And by having our officers throughout our county, in our schools, they are the first resource that someone who is a bully or someone who's being bullied can go to. And again, it's instilling that trust, knowing that we are the good guys and the women in law enforcement there to help you and get you the right resources and get you counseling if that's necessary to help you get through the problem you're going on and get you away from being a bully and get you on the right track of being somebody positive and turn that negative into a positive by going and working with other people. And I've had it happen where I've had someone who was a victim or was a bully turn around and be a speaker and say, hey, here's where I was, here's the bad place I was in. And through the resources and knowing that they're out there and people care and people can work with me to help me be a better person, I took that initiative. It's the same as I talked about before with the drugs. Instead of locking up and incarcerating people, getting them the proper care, it takes the initiative of that person who has that problem, willing to say, yeah, I have a problem. I'm tired of it. I need to change my life. I need to get on a different path. And how can I get there? You're helping me. You have, put your hand out to help me. And I'm going to take advantage of that hand and lead me in the right direction to get me on the right path again, because it's going to help me. It's going to help my family. It's going to help society. So it helps everybody if we can get the right people to help the right, the ones that are asking for help. There's a lot of individuals, I can tell you, that have mental health problems that are trying to reach out, and people want to ignore it. Yeah. They don't want to address it. I don't understand it. We talk about social media, and I've seen it before, and I've shared the post. My door's always open. My phone's always on. If you need me, call me. I'll pick up my phone. I'll open up my door to somebody. Come in for a cup of coffee, a bottle of water. You need a place to put your head down. I'm willing to do that to people to help them, because we can't do it all on our own. It doesn't work that way. And unfortunately, some of our elected officials, in the way you get involved with the politics, they're not helping. They want to draw a blind eye to it. You can't do that. That's not going to be the answer. When you talk about the open border, you have people that want to say, well, it's not this party, it's that party. Let's get rid of all the parties and put the parties aside from the issues. Address what's going on. There's young children that are being assaulted, young women being raped, other issues going on with these young that are getting across the border thinking that this is their way to freedom, and they're being victimized.
I want to say
They're
something
being victimized
about
to
what
get
you just
here.
said.
Yes.
So, guys, I witnessed it. I have photos. Reach out to me. So there's rape trees all along. And what they do is, and the women know it's going to happen and accept it, they're on their way to the illegal borders with their families, and the husbands and the children know it's going to happen, and the wives accept it. They're raped in front of their families, their little kids, their husbands, and they take a piece of their clothing, their bras, their underwears, and they throw it on the rape trees as a trophy. I have photos of them. I also have photos of 4 little kids. The youngest was 8 years old, and 3 little boys. They didn't know each other. They were dropped off by the cartel. They were told to tell us they were walking for 3 months, which was a lie. They were dressed fine. They had water bottles with them. They were dropped off a mile away, and she starts crying. So they had drugs on them and everything, and then all of a sudden we saw the cartel with their lights on, facing us with the Border Patrol, letting us know they're watching us. So this is so real and so sad and so heartbreaking, guys. We've got to do something. We've got to do something. Too many children are involved.
They are, and they're victims because they're innocent. They don't know any better. And that's not how they should be brought up, and that's not how they should understand and think that this is how things work. It's not how it works. It's not how it's going to be. Other countries, it's acceptable, and it shouldn't be that way, and that's what they're thinking is, well, this is my life, this is how it's going to be, and this is how I'm going to get where I need to get to in a trade-off. And it shouldn't be, and that's part of the human trafficking issue that's going on. And again, it's not about what party's not doing what or what party was doing this, and the blame game is not a solution to the problem of what's going on. And I can only hope that it does change somewhere soon, somehow, and that we don't have the issue that we have of all these people coming into our country, that they're given a piece of paper, they're documenting whatever information they're taking from them, and they're taking them and sending them off, whether send them to another city, whether they're wandering off on their own to find their own refuge or own place to be, and saying, come back in 2026, 2027, 2028, and we'll deal with getting you documented and doing your paperwork. My grandparents, your grandparents, and a lot of our grandparents here all did it the proper way.
That's right.
They came in to our nation in the United States the proper way, filled out all their paperwork, got documented, did everything they had to do, and that's the way it should be done. And I don't see an expedited situation right now because they want to say the border isn't open. No, if you come across the border in the proper border patrolled areas, as you may, that's fine. But coming through barbed wire fences that are cut down and other gates that are cut down and through people's private property in Texas, Arizona, and whatever else it is down the south, that's not the proper way of coming to our country and opening up the floodgates.
That's right.
You know, we have students that are in our schools. One of the schools I was in, one of the teachers pulled me aside and he said there's 40 students in his school that cannot speak our language. They don't understand what the teachers are instructing them. And I'm thinking, well, how are they here and what are they doing? And they're in our schools. And how are our teachers working with them to educate them? And how are they communicating with other students in the school to understand whatever their needs are, wherever, is going on with them? And it's unfortunate, and that's what's going on. And our taxpayers are paying for it.
But what's the answer to that? Why are they there?
They're there.
I'm sorry, Buck.
I know.
Okay.
I know. They're there because, like we've seen in other cities, they allow everybody to come in and they have to get the students off the streets. The students can't just be sitting on the streets, and they're bringing them to the schools. And the schools are taking them in. But again, what paperwork do they have? Where are they living? What's their address?
They're not being helped if they can't
No,
understand.
exactly. They're not being helped. They don't even understand our language, and nobody in the classroom can even try to translate for them because of the language barrier. So you bring somebody into our community and into our states and into our nation, and they have no clue where they're going. They're just happy to be here because they felt they're seeking asylum.
Sure.
This was better, but now they're here, and what's better for them?
Right.
And it isn't, and it's costing, and it's on the backs of all the taxpayers that are dealing with those situations. It's no different with they talk about sanctuary cities and a sanctuary state. Law enforcement hands are tied. I spoke with someone who's a big endorser for me, which is Bill Spadia from 1015, and he mentioned it, and I called in, and the subject of the morning when I called in was about sanctuary, and the government in New Jersey has tied law enforcement hands to work with ICE immigration in dealing with someone who's involved in a crime because it's sanctuary and we're protected. Well, law enforcement's hands are tied. So somebody can get locked up for a crime. They're not going to get charged. They're not going to go through the court system because they're governed through sanctuary. And we can't find out if they're here illegally and deport them. So they just continue on with committing a crime because they know they're protected. Well, how's law enforcement supposed to do their job in protecting the citizens if that's what they're going to do? It just doesn't work. You're tying the hands of law enforcement. We're to work collectively together. When I worked as a detective, I was assigned to our Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, the Special Investigations Unit. I was involved in the largest arrest and investigation in county history. We took off $1.1 million in drugs. We locked up over 40 people. We confiscated over 300 vehicles, including ATVs, motorcycles, that were all stolen. We seized some properties, and we got a lot of drugs off the streets. And that was essential, and that was a big case that I worked on. And that was with state, federal, and local agencies. So if law enforcement works together collectively, we can make things better. If we don't work together, it's not helping the citizens. And that's where our sheriff's officers, to me, can work better with everybody throughout Mercer County collectively as a package to make things better for everybody.
Wow. I think we've covered most of it. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Is there anything maybe we forgot to talk about?
There's not much that we haven't talked about and what we covered. Like I say, crime is on the rise here in Mercer County. It's over 20%. That's 20% too much. We have over 20 homicides. That's 20 too many. We're having them outside of our city. So it's not just a Trenton City issue. And I'm not trying to scare people when I talk about the numbers and the facts of the homicides. It's an awareness to let you know that law enforcement can, I think, in my opinion, in being a leader, bringing that leadership to the table to work with other law enforcement agencies, the police chiefs and directors throughout Mercer County, and get our sheriff's officers more involved. Back in the day, sheriff's officers were more involved in doing prisoner transports. And this is an issue that I'm hearing from other agencies, that they're not doing the prisoner transports. And again, our jail is not at capacity. It's at 50%. And I know at times they're having a problem with staffing at our county jail, that they're shut down for intake. But if you have a prisoner, someone who's been locked up on a warrant that has been issued by a Superior Court judge, which is generally down here in the county courts, and they are to get up to the county jail, the sheriff's officers aren't doing the prisoner transport. So now your local law enforcement agency, some of them are larger, some are smaller. Hikestown Borough smaller, Pennington Borough smaller. You have Princeton, West Windsor, East Windsor, like I said, is short-staffed. Now one of the uniform officers, if not two, depending on if it's a male or female prisoner, has to go up to our county jail up in Hopewell by Lambertville up on Route 29. It's an hour to an hour and a half's time, round trip, by the time they drive up there, do the intake. They have to be medically checked and cleared by the nurse there. Once they're done there and come back, your local law enforcement officer that's now was working his shift and protecting your community has left, if not two of them have left, and leaving your town short-staffed, which it shouldn't be doing. And that's where our sheriff's officers should be more involved in doing the prisoner transports, so that your agency and your community is protected with the law enforcement that's already working there, not leaving your community and leaving your community a little more vulnerable with less staff working. It's less staff not just for your community, it's less staff for the other officers that are working that shift also in that community. And that's a concern of mine, because as we know, unfortunately, law enforcement has a target on their back, and there's things that are happening to our men and women in blue that are unfortunately being targeted, and we can't have that happening. So having more manpower, more visibility, more transparency, I think works better for everybody collectively throughout our county. So to me, that's very essential and important to me. There's other things that our sheriff's officers aren't doing that they used to do back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I'm going back, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, or even less. As you have child support issues, and fathers or mothers, but more so fathers, in the situations of paying child support, those that aren't paying their child support, they used to go out and round up all the fathers that weren't paying their child support, and they're not even doing that anymore. So you have people that there are struggling economically as it is already, but also struggling because someone's not paying their child support, which is a court-ordered obligation, and that family's suffering because of that. And it shouldn't be that way. That's another entity that Sheriff's Office used to do. They're not doing as progressively as they used to. And that needs to be done, because that, again, someone else is suffering from that. Children are suffering, loved ones are suffering from that situation going on, and it shouldn't be going on. The judges have put the mandates out there for them to be picked up for the violation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I know everybody thinks about these things at times, all these little things that you talked about, but I think you brought everything to the table perfectly to make them really, really get it, and why this election is so important. All right, we're coming to the close of the show. I'm going to give you the mic one more time.
Okay.
I want everybody out there to understand something here, okay? He's got to get in office. And you can reach out to me and ask me why again and again and again. And I'll tell you again and again and again. All right? He's got to get into office. We got to get him in there. There's so many things that are going on that, say 20 years ago, right? We never thought we'd be seeing right now. 10 years ago, we never thought we'd be seeing these things happening right now. Probably 5, 6, 7 years ago in Robbinsville Township, I never thought I'd be seeing the things that I've seen go on now. So we need a change. What's been happening is not working. And I've been in this township 50 years, guys. That's right. And, my family, we were all business owners. We love Robbinsville. We love Mercer County. We love Washington Township, which is now Robbinsville Township. We need a change. And again, personally, I know this guy, so Bucky for sheriff, everybody. Okay? If you want to fight with me and I'll tell you why I'm right, reach out to me. Okay? Bucky for sheriff. Buck,
If I can, real quick, Jerry.
No, you're going to get the mic.
Okay.
I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
No, I want to thank you again for being here. You have all the time you need. Buck, you're going to close the show. The mic is yours.
Thank you again, Jerry, for this opportunity. Thank you for the listeners that are out there either tuning in or watching. As I said, Mercer County needs to change. It's not a political party change. It needs to change for what's right for the citizens of Mercer County. I can't do this on my own. I have lawn signs that I have that are available. I have T-shirts that I have up here behind me that are part of my fundraiser. Unfortunately, running a campaign, it costs money. It's not free to be able to do the things that I'm doing out there to work to get my message out, my vision out to everybody. So without your support, that can't be done. If you can, and if you still want to make a donation to my campaign, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps me. You can reach me also via email if you want to reach out to me in regards to any questions, anything you've heard me talk about here today, something I didn't talk about that you have a concern about. It's Bucky for Sheriff, BUCKYFOR Sheriff.com. On my webpage, there's a donate page. You can click on the donate page. You can fill it out. You can mail it to my campaign office. You can, again, email me through there. Any questions you have. T-shirts are $20 each. We have 15 days till this comes to an end with the election on November 7th. And that change can't be made with your voice not being heard unless you go to the polls and make that happen. Take advantage again, as we spoke when we opened the show up, with early voting. Starting this Saturday, the 28th of October, to the following Sunday, November 5th. Every day other than Sunday, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., there's 13 different locations, I believe it is, here in Mercer County that you can go to. It doesn't have to be the community you live in to go and vote. You can go up to Hikestown and vote there from Hamilton or Robbinsville, or you can come into Hamilton here from Robbinsville, Hikestown, Ewing, Trenton, and you can vote. There's different locations. You can find it on the state websites as to where you can go. Take advantage of early voting. Do not allow what happened last fall to us, where the machines, especially in Robbinsville and here in Hamilton, failed us by shutting down because in the 11th hour, there was some software change made to the machines. This Tuesday, not this Tuesday, it is Tuesday, Monday here already. This Thursday, I'm going to the Board of Election to review the machines that are going to be going out for the early voting. We did away with the Sharpies. That was a big thing for us to get away with. We got away with those. We don't want them anymore. We want you to be able to go in with the confidence in knowing that your vote's going to count. If you did the early voting, or if you have the early voting ballot, you haven't made your decision yet, you have time to do that. They have to be postmarked by 8 p.m. on Election Day. Again, it's 2 envelopes. The inner envelope has to be sealed, and then the outer envelope. If the inner envelope is not sealed, your vote's not going to count. You can track those by the number that's on your form and see that your vote counts. But if the seal on the inside of the envelope isn't sealed, and then the outside seal, and it gets dropped in the county boxes, don't use the Postal Service, use the county boxes that are out there, your vote won't count. You have to follow all the directions on those. But early voting, again, this Saturday to the following Saturday, October 28th to November 4th, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then on Sunday the 5th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Get out and vote and make the change. Make your voice be heard. If you have enough concerns about what's going on, use our democracy to make it work for us, to make the change. I can't do this on my own and get out there and do that without your support. I greatly appreciate Jerry's support, opportunity to be here on the show, to the listeners, to get my message out, my vision, and what I want to do and bring to the Sheriff's Office and Mercer County residents. Working for the citizens is what it's about. That's who I work for. That's who it counts for, and that's who all our Sheriff's officers work for. The citizens of Mercer County, to make it a better community, a better county for everybody to come visit, live, and feel that this is a great community, a great county, as it always has been, the capital county here of our great state of New Jersey. Jerry, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Greatly appreciate this time and opportunity again.
Please share this show. Bucky for Sheriff, everybody. Okay, producer, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
It's really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.